because you said Liverpool would probably be considered, well, I said it as well, they'd be considered title challengers then if they won them all, or even won 3 of the 4. If Chelsea did the same, obviously either won the 3 of the 4, lost to Liverpool, would Chelsea be considered title challengers?
I think if you're making a combined 11 with Liverpool and any team and it doesn't have Salah in, it's shit. So you guys can deliberate that in the comments. Sky could televise it, and they could even make it so you could bet. They could make a load of money back because you could bet on.
Oh yeah, you can bet who's going to win.
Sky just, you can use that.
You're missing opportunities.
Just credit the boys at Game of Two Halves. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Game of Two Halves podcast, a weekly Premier League-based football podcast. We have had a short break talking about England because we were forced, another international break was forced upon us, only 6-7 games into the season.
Forcing to talk about something we don't want to talk about.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about England. We've already been disappointed in the summer again. So back to the Premier League, which if you're United fans like us too, then that's also very disappointing. But we're not going to be talking about United too much today, so that's okay. If we are on episode 10 of this season and episode 56 of the Game of Two Halves podcast overall. So if you're watching or listening along and you've been with us, a large period of that journey, thank you very much. If you're new, then maybe subscribe or follow us on our platforms if you like what you hear/see today. As always, Bowers has his interesting facts for you.
Yeah. Interesting facts. I don't know if you'll know about this, but you might. So Guardiola is the only manager to win the Continental treble twice, the youngest manager to win the UEFA Champions League. I didn't know that, to be fair. And he holds the record for the most consecutive league games won in La Liga, the Bundesliga, and the Premier League.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said I knew it all, but if you would have read all those things out to me and then asked me what manager it was, I'd say it's Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
So, although I didn't know every single part of that, it's all Pep Guardiola-like achievements, isn't it, really?
I mean, as a manager, you can't do much better. You own the record for the most consecutive league games won. Liga, Bundesliga and Premier League. It's quite impressive, that.
Yeah, in the 3 leagues, obviously, he's renowned for, where he's had all his success. So, setting records everywhere he goes, winning trophies everywhere he goes, as much as we...
I mean, what's left is the Italian league, really, isn't it?
I've always wondered where will we see him go after the Premier League. Will it be another European giant?
It might be England now.
Would it be a national team?
It's linked quite heavily. And he actually said, didn't he, in his conference recently, he said... Who knows, like, he said about the England job, he says, I haven't made a decision on my future at City, and if I made my decision about England, you'd already know, so who knows what can happen, and everyone's like, oh my God, he's come to England!
I think, my gut feeling at the moment is still that this is going to be the last season that we see him as a manager in the Premier League. Maybe that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, I hope so.
From the red side of Manchester, but I think he has been around a while now. Obviously, his contract is up at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So we can only wait and see. But let's leave Guardiola there. With the interesting fact, let's not talk about City anymore. Although we're going to talk about United's biggest rival in Liverpool.
Yeah. So we're just going to be talking a bit about Liverpool and Chelsea. Like Levi said, it's the biggest game of the weekend. So we've just got a bit of stats, and if you don't already know, these are the stats of Liverpool so far. So they've played 7 matches, 6 wins and 1 loss, 13 goals scored, 2 goals conceded, and 6 clean sheets. Not 6, sorry, 5.
You threw me off then. I'm looking at it.
You're looking at it, eh? 5 clean sheets. And to me, that's actually really impressive, isn't it? The one that stands out to me is probably the clean sheets and the goals conceded. So only conceding 2 goals in 7 games is quite impressive.
Yep, definitely. I think they've had a very, very strong start to the season. Obviously, as we've discussed previously, I think they're getting to a point now where they're going to have a run where we're going to really see where this team is at under Arne Slot. I've been impressed with them all round, really. Like you say, the fact they've only conceded 2 goals in the league, based on the fact that I think a lot of people, certainly ourselves, thought they were maybe going to be a bit short in midfield that might make them a bit easier to play against and break down. I think I would have expected them to be more defensively frail than they are now, not because of the defence, but because of the midfield problems we thought they were going to have.
Do you know this could all go tits up because if they did get an injury to McAllister, it is short there.
They don't have an awful lot of depth, or they don't have quality in depth.
Yes.
However, everything I've said about Liverpool leading up to this season and all the suggestions of how I thought it was going to go for them so far have been pretty much way off the mark.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to eat my words, give them their credit where it's due based on how they've performed so far. But like I say, I think the telling sign, funnily enough, for Chelsea as well, actually, is going to be this run of fixtures that they both now have. I think will be a telling sign for how they perform for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I do like Liverpool's statistics so far. Obviously, only having one loss. They didn't do any draws, so they're only winning and losing at the minute. So, yeah, I actually like him and I'm quite impressed. But obviously, Arne Slot did actually say that he hasn't had that test of the higher teams yet. So this run of fixtures may give him that test. So we'll see how he does.
A disrespectful nod there to the fact he's already had an away game at Old Trafford, but come away with a 3-0 victory.
It's not, you wouldn't say it's a test right now, though, would you?
It's not, no, which is what I mean. It's the reality of it, but it also feels very bitter to hear that as a United fan, but what can you do?
Yeah, so we'll go on to Chelsea. They have played 7 matches, 4 wins, 1 loss and 2 draws. So they have scored 16 goals compared to Liverpool's 13, but they've also conceded 8 goals.
I think as well, the fact they've scored 16, isn't there a bit of an outlier in one of those 7 games? They scored a hatful against
Scored
Wolves.
6. Yeah, they won 6-2 against Wolves, I think.
So, you take that one off the table, which I know obviously you can't take that off the table because it's happened, but, that drops them to 10 goals. They scored 6 in one game. They've stat padded the numbers a bit there with a heavy victory.
Yeah, so you have obviously Liverpool's 5 clean sheets, Chelsea a bit more fragile at the back with 2 clean sheets.
Obviously, you can't say it's anywhere near as...
I think United have got more clean sheets than that, haven't they?
We have, yeah, I think...
But the thing is, with Liverpool, they're much, from the statistics, they're much more solid. And then Chelsea are a bit more, if you looked at the statistics, they're a bit more trying to find their own way still.
Well, I think the statistics... God, we said that word a lot already, this podcast, but when you look at it from Chelsea's point of view, and then you also have the backstory and the number of players they've got in the squad, the amount of players have been in and out the door, the fact that the managerial appointments are always a bit of a circus. I think that kind of reads, from that point of view, I think they've actually probably been better than you would expect. I mean, I thought they'd be having another mid-table season, which they could still have. But I think based on all those contributing factors, they've started the season better than I thought they were going to.
Yeah.
But we have also said that about Liverpool, and they're going to have tougher games coming up now to see really where they're at. Been impressed with how the managers got them playing so far, but the bar was quite low for me in expectation for Chelsea from that.
Well, it seemed like they came into a bit of form under Poch, and then
right at the end, yeah,
and then changed. But like I say, they're playing. I think they're playing some decent football whenever I've watched them. So,
and the other one we highlighted there that me and you spoke about off air, actually, 27 yellow cards this season.
Yeah.
That is a potential worry. I mean, they've already got players that are missing out. I think Cucurella and Fofana. I think Colwell's available. Yeah, I think they've both had that many bookings that they're already missing a game or 2 games. I don't know what it is for an accumulation of yellows. I don't know if it's 1 game or not. But
people have pointed this out because I'm pretty sure, because Chelsea have got 27, Liverpool have got 14, and I think people are saying, with all these new rules with VAR and stuff kicking the ball away, they're saying people are getting dished yellow cards left, right, and centre now. I think maybe
there's definitely more of it.
Yeah, but I thought when we was going into the season, it was going to be a bit more lenient. But this seems like it's the opposite.
I think they've drawn a line in the sand with some of these things, haven't they? Arsenal have been on the receiving end of it twice with red cards.
But I mean, Arsenal always kick up a fuss. But for me, you kick the ball away twice. But I mean, the Trossard one's probably a bit more.
Yeah, I think that one's a horrendous one.
The
personally.
Declan Rice one, I didn't think like you shouldn't have kicked it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Maybe not. But then it was also the first time it had happened, wasn't it?
Yes.
Like with the Rice one, so you look at it, you put a marker down, and you should say that shouldn't happen again.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure maybe similar to Chelsea's goals where we were saying they've scored 16, but 6 of them were in one match. I'm sure they got a whole load of those yellow cards in one game as well.
Yeah.
So maybe that has slightly weighted the numbers a little bit.
Yeah.
And am I right in saying that Chelsea's only loss is against City? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes, they lost against City first game of the
season.
season.
So they've avoided defeat in the other 6 matches they've played.
Yeah, which is quite... We said Liverpool was impressive. I think that's quite impressive.
From memory, they gave City a game for a
it was
large
2-0,
period of the match. So they've looked quite good, in all honesty. You know, the fact that Chelsea have played City is somewhere where Liverpool aren't at in this season, in that they've not played one of the better teams in Arsenal, Manchester City, blah, blah, blah. Chelsea have had an attempt against one of the bigger teams and seen maybe where they're at.
Yeah.
And I think they did, from memory, they did hold their own in that game for a period of the match. So,
well, I feel like it's necessary, but I think 2 players in particular, Palmer's a given. We know how good Palmer is. He seems like he's not that one season wonder. He's doing it again.
It looks that way.
But I do want to say about Jackson for Chelsea. He's looks to be firing, and even when he's not firing, he's playing well, assisting Palmer and stuff. I think every time I've watched him, I've really liked him. And to be fair, in pre-season last season, we said we liked the look of him.
Yeah,
and
I think
it turns out like he got 14 goals or something last season, and we were saying like, oh, maybe he goes into the flop or whatever, but he doesn't, because he actually played quite well.
I think it's difficult. This is the guy that toes the line perfectly for me of the eye test and then the statistics, where overall you'd have to say his numbers weren't terrible last year. First season in the Premier League for Chelsea. But again, he scored like 3 or 4 goals in one game last year. And the fact that he's ended the season with 14, I'm not knocking that at all, because
I'm not sure if it is 14, but I think it was around
let's go with that. I'm happy with it being around that mark. But I would have to say, I still think, despite the fact I think there's been an improvement to his game so far this season, he definitely is still one of those players that gives me Darwin Núñez vibes, where...
Well, it was quite similar, the statistics between Darwin and...
They are both a little bit more wasteful than what the fans would like. I think Jackson catches a lot of flack, as does Darwin Núñez, but...
They gave him a new contract, didn't they?
Yeah, they did in the summer, or just after the summer, potentially.
Put some trust in him. He doesn't really scream like a starting striker for me. Like, maybe you could get a out-and-out better striker, but he's not doing anything wrong. So
no, I think he's a little bit disrespected, but I'm also not convinced he's top class. But
some we
started
see it,
okay.
We see this sometimes, like players before they get that top class, they have about 3 seasons of averageness, don't they?
Sometimes they do feel it out.
It's not the word, is it? Averageness, but
no, it might be. I don't know. But yeah, I think he definitely looks improved. He's got a little bit more used to it, and it can't be the easiest to settle in when you look at the amount of changes that they've made on the pitch. All over the place. Obviously, then a different manager coming in, so I'll give him his due, really. I think he's started well. He's got the numbers for it. Let's see how he can go on for the rest of the season. Really.
Another one I wanted to point out is from the Liverpool side. That is Gravenberch. I think he's been phenomenal.
Sorry, you lost me there. I didn't know what you were going on about.
Yeah. I think obviously Jackson and Gravenberch, I think they've both been really good this season.
I think Gravenberch, for me, so obviously we're not Liverpool fans, but in my eyes, a forgotten man, and I would have deemed him a flop this season, a Klopp flop.
Yeah.
He'd come in. I don't think he'd ever really done too much wrong, but he wasn't in favour. I don't know if he picked up an injury or what, but he never really seemed to live up to the expectation of the heights that were getting thrown around with his name when he was a top European talent.
He never got the run of games, did he?
He never seemed to get a steady run in that Liverpool team, and now under Arne Slot, he seems to be more in favour.
But you know what? This is a prime example of you can be like the worst player under one manager, and then a new manager comes along and you just hit the ground running like that. That's a prime example.
It could be the case, but I know I've also heard some people speculating that, like, oh, well, Klopp clearly didn't know how to use him and all stuff like this. Some Liverpool fan had mentioned that to me, I'm sure. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's true just because he's performing under Arne Slot so far this season. Klopp might have been helping him get to where he is now to be ready for this season. We don't know, the ins and outs of it, or certainly I don't.
To be fair, I do think some players suit a 2 in midfield rather than a 3.
Yeah, I think he
might be one of them.
We always said about Paul Pogba that everyone said that he needed to either be in a 3 and all this. But yeah, it looks like a new signing for Liverpool because I'd pretty much forgot they even had him, to be perfectly honest
that's
with
the
you.
Position they wanted, and it seems like a new signing, and they already had the guy.
Yeah, so that from that point of view, where we're saying that midfield was lacking, that's because writing players like this off, really. As even someone like Gakpo, who I don't think's been particularly poor or particularly amazing, but came in and has kind of been a bit steady.
Yeah.
And then he had a very good Euros campaign and has looked, I think, since the Euros for Liverpool when he's played, looked better. So maybe some of these signings they've made in previous windows will be a massive help for them this year and almost be like new signings.
Yeah. So just before, because we've done a combined 11 and we've done it with our twist that we have the keeper that we agreed on and 5 and 5 instead of just having all Liverpool, all Chelsea.
It would be pretty much all Liverpool, I think, bar a few.
Well, I wouldn't say it, but we'll see. But before I do that, I'll just we just run through the next fixtures of Liverpool.
Yeah.
So we want to see like which one I've got the hardest one and how many points do you reckon they'll pick up from it. So Liverpool have got Chelsea, which is this weekend. Then they've got Arsenal, Brighton, and Villa. So just looking at them, I mean, they could all easily be losses, and they could all easily be wins. So you just never know, really.
I think
see who's at home, who's at away.
I think for Liverpool, Chelsea, that's at Anfield this weekend.
You'd probably say they'd get a win there.
I'd edge it to Liverpool anyway, and the fact that they're at home, I'd edge it to them even more. Arsenal's away, which I think is going to be a tough game. Don't really know how to call that one.
I'll probably say now 2-2 maybe.
A draw, I think, would be obviously a better result for Liverpool than Arsenal with it being away from home. Yeah. And then they're at Anfield for Brighton and Villa. So 3 of these 4 tougher games are all at Anfield, which you'd say gives them the upper hand.
Way, doesn't it? Yeah.
So,
and I mean, I know it's at Anfield, but if they come away with 4 wins there, you've got to be mentioning them for the league, haven't you?
They have to be mentioned as title challengers. If they come out with, I think even if they get 3 out of those 4, arguably depending on which 3.
And you only concede 1, like, in the loss. Like, it's good, isn't it?
If you're beating Arsenal away from home, the way Arsenal have been the last 2 seasons, and you're picking up points everywhere else, despite the fact those other games are at home, you'd have to say that they, at this point in the league, although it is early on, at that point they'll have played 10, 11 matches in the league, you'd have to say that they are in a title race.
Yeah.
Even though that might be premature with so many games left to play.
Okay, so they're pretty hard for me, but obviously, with you obviously stating that they're at home, it kind of edges it more Liverpool's way. So
on paper, certainly.
On paper, yeah. Anything can happen. Brighton are a good team, Villa are a good team, so we'll see. Next fixtures for Chelsea then are Liverpool, Newcastle, United, and Arsenal. So not Newcastle United, sorry, Newcastle, Man United, and Arsenal.
So they've got a 2-2 split there, home and aways. They're away at Liverpool and away at United, and they're at Stamford Bridge against Newcastle and Arsenal.
So you'd probably, yeah.
But then I'm not convinced away at Manchester United's a difficult game at the moment.
No.
We don't know what's going on with Manchester United on a week-to-week basis.
Well, you say that, Chelsea don't really have the results against us. Whenever they've come to Old Trafford, we seem to win.
But based on what I've seen this season, United win against Chelsea at home. So on the 7 matches we've seen in the league, I thought I'd be quite shocked if we get anything.
But we were poor last season, and then Chelsea came to us, and we ended up beating them 4-1, was it?
You never know, but based on what I've seen so far, I don't think that's going to be one out of those 4 that they're particularly worried about.
Yes.
But Newcastle...
I'd say if you Newcastle at home, is it?
I've lost it now. Yeah, Newcastle's at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, so I think if you went to Newcastle, then
It's a much tougher match, isn't it?
it
Away
is.
from
Yeah,
home,
I think you beat Newcastle at Stamford Bridge. Yeah.
But I also don't think they are the team anyone's expected them to be so far this season. I don't think they've really come out strong.
No.
So it really depends if they get firing before then, or is this how Newcastle season's going to go? I think a lot of people expected them to be better this year again, with the fact that they're not in Europe.
Yeah.
You know, they had the Champions League last year. But at any point, you know, it's the beauty of the Premier League, isn't it? At any point, Newcastle are a very capable team with good players, and they could make that a very difficult game. But like you say, on paper, the fact that it's at Stamford Bridge and Newcastle haven't really got going yet for me, I think that Chelsea will be the favourites.
Well, here's one for you then. So because you said Liverpool would probably be considered, well, I said as well, they'd be considered title challengers then if they won them all, or even won 3 of the 4. If Chelsea did the same, obviously either won the 3 of the 4, lost to Liverpool, would Chelsea be considered title challengers?
It'd be probably pretty hypocritical of me, but I'm going to say no. I think
because they're quite similar fixtures. I know you've got United that's...
If they win all 4 of those games, which obviously, again, like I said with Liverpool, it means they've beat Arsenal. But obviously it'd be Arsenal at Stamford Bridge, not away.
But if Chelsea win all 4 of theirs, it means they would have beat Liverpool and Arsenal and United.
So you are right then. I'm forgetting the fact they've obviously got the Liverpool game in its part.
Yeah. So,
but something tells me I still wouldn't consider them title challenges. But I think you'd have a serious conversation about it for
there must
a couple of weeks, and then you'd be like,
yeah,
no. It'd be Spurs from last year early on. It'd be that kind of conversation.
What's the difference there then? 'Cause there must be something.
In my method of thinking, in my head,
is it because Chelsea haven't been up there in a while and Liverpool have?
I think I consider Liverpool a much more serious club than Chelsea, despite the fact that Chelsea in the last 20 years have won their fair share of league titles. They've had 2 European Cups in that time. Doesn't quite feel the same to me. Maybe that's with us living further north. I don't know, but I think more in recent times, Liverpool have been a force that have managed to have seasons back to back to back where they are a serious team that are competing for the league and competing in Europe. I don't really think since the Mourinho era that Chelsea have ever been, the first Mourinho era, that Chelsea have ever been a dominant force for more than a one-off season. You know, like they've done well and won silverware and been good in moments, but I don't think they've ever had an extended period of time since that first Mourinho. Even Conte, they were relatively solid for a couple of years. Like I say, maybe it's the bias to the sort of geographical area we live in, where I don't think of Chelsea in the same way. But yeah, I suppose if they win all those games, you've got to talk about it. But I would be very, very shocked that we do the distance and they're there at the end of the season, whereas Liverpool were there at the end of the season. It wouldn't surprise me.
It is strange because obviously they're both new managers. It's not like it's not like it's Klopp. So well, Klopp's already done it. Do you know what I mean? But
no, but I think you'd argue that Liverpool were in better shape than Chelsea going into this season, despite the fact you could probably
Chelsea's second team is pretty much like when you said about City's second team. Chelsea's second team's good.
They've got unbelievable depth and they spent the money, but you'd have to say based on last season, the ups and downs that Chelsea went through in terms of results and performances, bar pretty much Cole Palmer, that team was all over the place.
Yeah. Okay, so combined 11 time.
Yes.
So we always agree on a keeper. That keeper is Sanchez because we have a rule where if a player's injured, to our knowledge, anyway, the players might be injured, but if we don't know they're injured, then players off. But we know that Alisson is injured, so we've gone with Sanchez. I mean, some people might even put an argument for if Kelleher's back. They might even say Kelleher's better than Sanchez, which you could argue. But
yeah, we've gone with Sanchez because it gives us a 5-5 split picking the Liverpool and Chelsea players. Obviously, I think we can both agree that Alisson would be a definite shoe-in if he was available, but he is not. So Sanchez is in by default.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kelleher. Second for a reason.
Chelsea 1, Liverpool 0 already. Right, who are... We'll go your full back. We'll go right back first.
one of the easier ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Trent in at right back.
I mean, you have to have Trent in at right back, I think.
Yep.
What about your left back?
I've gone for Levi Colwill.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I did as well. Even though he's been playing centre back, I thought I'm not having that Kukurea in my team.
And I'm not willing to put Robertson or Tsimikas in and take one of my 5 Liverpool spots.
Exactly.
Despite the fact I think they make an argument to be better than Chelsea's available options.
And I also kind of put a tactical mind on things, and it was like same with England, wasn't it? Do you know when I put Colwell left back? Because if you want Trent to push up even more, you go to your back three, and imagine a back three of this.
Both of those full backs can get inside as well.
Yes,
Trent and Colwell can arguably come inside.
So I'm guessing your 2 centre backs will be the same as me.
Let's see.
Go on then.
So I've got Van Dijk and Fofana.
Oh no.
Yeah, I
can't look past Kanate and Van Dijk.
I can, because there's other players that have to be in here.
Nah, I've had to, because I've had. You have to have them as a 2.
I can't
and
use.
To be fair, Fofana, I don't think he's all like as great as people make out.
Oh no, I don't think he is at all. But in our own rules that we set ourselves here of 5 and 5, there's no way on God's green earth that, despite the fact Liverpool's defence is fantastic, that 3 of my 5 available Liverpool spots are going on defenders. I would have 1 Chelsea player in this team if we didn't have our rule.
Would you?
Yeah, none of the others get anywhere near it.
I think
this has been the hardest one with our rules that we put in place with our 5 and 5. This is the hardest one I've ever had to do.
Going off this season, I definitely have some Chelsea players in, but yeah. So my back 4 is Trent, Kanate, Van Dijk, and Colwell. Because I've got, if Trent pushes up, you can go a back 3 of Kanate, Van Dijk, and Colwell, and that'll be quite some back 3. That.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm guessing you've gone 4-2-3-1, have you?
You could say that, yes.
Okay, so have you got two centre mids then?
Yeah, 2 deeper midfield.
Yeah, let's go with them, because we know where the cam is. So.
I've gone Caicedo and McAllister.
So what made it hard for me? It confused me. I didn't expect you to say one of these names. What made it hard for me is I don't think ideally a Chelsea centre mid gets in these centre mids. I think it had to be Gravenberch and McAllister. Had to be. But I've had to make a compromise.
Make a concession.
Yeah, so I've had to make a compromise because of the forward players. So I've gone Caicedo and Gravenberch, and it kills me because I think McAllister is really, really good.
Yeah.
But I think Gravenberch edges over McAllister because I think he's been Liverpool's standout player. So I've gone Caicedo.
I think he's been one of, and certainly you can make that argument for this season, but previous to that, this guy could have got a transfer to some forgotten team in Europe and I wouldn't give him a second thought. And based on the fact McAllister's just, he's won back-to-back trophies with Argentina. He had a fantastic season for Liverpool last year, and he still started this season strong. He is the only... If I was going to have 1-1, it could be any Chelsea midfield. I don't care. Caicedo, Enzo. You could have Lavia if he was available. I don't care who's in.
Do you know, at first, I had Kanate, Van Dijk, Gravenberch and McAllister, right? And then I realised I can't get any Liverpool forwards in.
I nearly went for a completely Chelsea...
forward line.
Two Chelsea centre mids.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I would rather have the better players spread out. But
I'd rather it the other way about me.
Couldn't quite do it. So
I couldn't have Enzo in.
These, when you look at the teams in comparison, and I know we've just discussed in detail how they've performed so far, but the Chelsea players don't get near this.
I think they do. I think some of them.
It'd be 10-1.
If I'm going off form, I think they've been really good. Okay, so the 2 centre mids done.
Yep.
You've gone McAllister and Caicedo. I've gone Gravenberch, Caicedo.
Yeah. Yes.
I'll say centre attack of mid is Palmer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a shoe in. Okay, so this is where it's going to definitely differ between me and you because I've got 2 Chelsea players. You've got
2 Liverpool.
2 Liverpool.
Yeah.
Okay, so right wing.
Salah.
Madueke. Left wing.
Diaz.
Striker.
Jackson
was
the only one I was a bit like... So the only thing I debated changing in mine, pre our discussion where we've just spoke, was the only thing I was going to change would have been Jackson for Jota, which would have meant I had to change.
Well, I thought you put Jota in, but you haven't.
So then I would have probably gone Enzo in for McAllister and add Enzo and Caicedo.
Yeah, I can't put Enzo in.
And I also didn't think, maybe this is disrespectful to Jota, I didn't think there was that much in Jota to Jackson.
No, there's not.
I think people would argue differently. I think Liverpool fans would say that he's a million times better. But to me, there was a bigger gulf in class between McAllister and anyone that Chelsea can offer in that position. And Jackson and Jota, which was the only people that were going to
I know
offset.
what you mean.
Diaz has to go in.
I think Diaz has to go in, and the reason why I've got Madueke there, because obviously I had to have two Chelsea, considering because of what my team does. The only reason I've picked Diaz over Salah, because I think Diaz has been better than Salah this season.
Yeah, this season.
And Madueke has also been really good for Chelsea. So I thought, if Diaz is better than Salah, Madueke's been amazing for Chelsea. So yeah, I've got Madueke and Diaz as my wingers and Jackson up front.
I think if you're making a combined 11 with Liverpool and any team and it doesn't have Salah in, it's shit. So you guys can deliberate that in the comments.
Well, I'm going off this season though.
No, that's fair, but you know,
Salah has got 4 goals so far, but
it does, and you could make the argument that when it does come to longevity as well, that you know Liverpool fans put Salah in an all-time conversation for Premier League. I don't think he gets in.
No, I don't.
But the fact that he's even in them conversations and not in your combined 11 with a Chelsea team that finished mid-table last season stinks a bit.
Well, Salah's got 4 goals so far. Diaz has got 5. And Madueke's got the same as Salah at the minute. So that's why.
But again, Madueke got a hat-trick in a one-off game. And you also have to look at the fact that Salah's the placeholder here, that we're all talking about how good Diaz has been this season. He's got 1 more goal than Salah.
Yeah.
So Salah always gets held to this, where because his numbers are so fantastic and have been every year in the Premier League, even when he has a year where his numbers are slightly lower, everyone's like, oh, he's not been as good this year. Well, and he still gets like 30 goals and assists over the
season. But mine is probably because I've actually seen quite a few Liverpool games this season, and throughout the game, Diaz has been playing better as well. It's not just the goals.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, for example, like I think Salah gets held to that.
Yeah,
and has done consistently. We've seen it happen with Haaland after a few seasons.
Yeah, we've said it in the past, haven't we? Like, because you've set the bar so high,
you become a victim of your own success when it becomes, you know, from the speculation point of view, from fans talking about you. But no, I think there was a few here that had to go in. My 11, and let's say we can pick Alisson, is Liverpool's complete team and Palmer gets in, and that no Chelsea players get in this team.
Really?
Yeah, they're all shit, aren't they, really, compared to Liverpool? I know we've just discussed in detail how good some of them are.
Well, I really like Jota, but I mean, there's an argument for Jackson in there, maybe. I don't know.
I think there's an argument.
I really like Jota.
Because I still don't think Liverpool have a striker.
No, to be fair, I actually agree with you, because
if you put them 1 for 1 next to each other and you had the choice, how many would you pick? Not many.
No, it's true, yeah.
You'd shoehorn Palmer in because he's unbelievable. And you could arguably play him as the 9.
Well, to be fair,
Liverpool don't really have one anyway.
Liverpool need one, really. They've got Soboslai playing there at the minute. So, I mean, imagine if they had Palmer there.
Yeah, I think...
I said last season...
That's why I found this so difficult, because I don't think the Chelsea players... It's no disrespect
it is
to
true,
them, but
yeah.
I don't think, compared to those Liverpool individuals, I don't think many of them get in, realistically. But
imagine if... I've always really... I don't know why because Crystal Palace manager said we were very shocked no one went in for Eze. I thought Eze was a great buy for Liverpool if they wanted to get someone, because they haven't really got... I know Soboslai is not a bad player, but imagine Eze there, mate. He would cook.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about, you know, because he's such a hyped up player, Eze, and I get it.
Oh, he's so good.
He's good to watch, isn't he? But I do think he's been very underwhelming this season.
Yeah, he's missed a lot of chances this season.
But he's also been putting himself in all the correct positions. He's been still getting the strikes away. There's something quite not clicking for him so far.
Do you know when you're going through, like, I don't know, like trials as a kid, and like you always hear it, the managers always say, do you know what, I'll be worried if you weren't getting the chances. As long as you're getting the chances, it's fine.
Definitely.
Because you're not putting them away, then
I think arguably Palace also haven't been quite as good as they were
No.
towards the last couple of months of last season.
I think that's a lot to do with losing Anderson, you know.
Lost Anderson, they lost Elise as well.
Yeah. Well, Elise is out most of the season anyway.
He was, yeah. But yeah, I think combined 11, difficult. I think realistically, maybe this is how we spoke before, where I was saying Liverpool would be title contenders and Chelsea weren't. maybe there's a bit of disrespect from me there to Chelsea, but I don't put them on a level that high quite yet.
Yeah.
And maybe, some of those individuals in the Liverpool team with a different coach, with the players in there that have won things, would perform better and be good enough for Liverpool. But based on what I've seen from a lot of them for Chelsea, I don't think they displace too many. Well, that's what makes it interesting about doing the 5 and 5, because you have to fit them in.
Yeah, because I hate seeing combined 11s and then they go, it's all like, obviously when it was United and Liverpool, or United and anyone at the minute, everyone will just go, well, it's a full Aston Villa team, innit? But I hate watching them, because what's the point? Like, at least you don't know which 5 we're going to pick.
But they do it to wind you up, don't they? It's just clickbait. They know that you're going to pick mainly all them. So at least it forces you to make some decisions. Fofana goes in. He's been playing for Chelsea all this season. Colwell's played a fair bit.
You can't, when they've got, did they have 5 clean sheets in 7 games? I don't think you can look past the 2 centre-halves, to be honest.
No, I in complete agreement. Those two wipe the floor with anyone Chelsea can bring to the table, but for the likes of some of the other players missing out, I can't quite bring myself to do it.
I'm not bringing United into it. Obviously, we're not going to go into United this pod, but do you know what the difference is? Like, I love Martinez. This season, he's not been anywhere near it, right? But do you know what the difference is? Do you know when you see that massive Canate and massive Van Dijk? Imagine just coming up against them. They're a big presence. But then imagine coming against, like, Martinez might be outperforming, like, Canate at some point or something, but you're still going to come into it and go, I reckon I can have you. Do you know what I mean? But if you're going against a monster of Canate and Van Dijk, it's just a bit more...
I think it definitely comes into it. Maybe it's a bit more intimidating when it's someone of a bigger stature, but I think that's the smallest of United's problems. I didn't say smallest there. That made it sound like I was picking a play on that. But I think it more comes into the fact that all the teams that have a successful defensive line that you'd argue is decent, maybe City are a bit of an outlier because I feel like they quite frequently change.
Well, they're all quite tall, and
they are. But I think what the point I was going to make is, Liverpool now look like, providing the injuries don't become a problem, and obviously Van Dijk's age at this point, how long is he going to stay around for and keep performing? But as it stands, they've got a partnership that is to be feared, and Arsenal have a partnership that is to be feared. You could even argue that someone like Spurs, you've got Romero and Van de Ven that have built a bit of a partnership. Yeah. It's not on that level yet, but
maybe
United have not had that for 10 or more years. And I think that's the biggest difference. I don't think it's... Martinez hasn't been great, but...
I know there's signings and that, but do you know when... I know they've not really started well, and you'd probably laugh at me for saying this, but if on paper, De Ligt and Martinez have really good potential to be a good partnership. But you'll probably laugh now because they've been shocking, haven't they, this season? But yeah, no, we're not bringing United into it. But there is quite a lot of good. We said this previous pods. There's quite a lot of good centre back partnerships this season, isn't there, in the Prem? If Spurs didn't play such a high line, Van de Ven and Romero will probably keep more clean sheets.
Yeah, I think they get exposed a lot more than some of the other teams do because of the tactical setup that the manager wants to play.
Yeah,
but I would say they're still a good partnership. They're not on the level of the other 2 partnerships we mentioned, but they're a better one in the league.
I'd even say, I know Consa's played a lot of times at right back, but Diego Carlos is actually quite good. But I'd say Pau Torres and maybe Consa, I think they're good. Yeah, because Pau Torres is really underrated. I think he's one of the best. Yeah, so Levi had this idea. I think it was last pod that he mentioned this idea, but we've come up with our perfect Premier League table, if that makes sense, over teams from the past, like in our younger years and all that. So
yeah, I saw it. I've seen it on Twitter, people talking about it, seen it on YouTube, TikTok, the whole lot. So I thought, why don't we throw our hat in the ring and do it? Don't care what you guys think. We've done it for us.
So what's going to happen is I'm going to get you to read yours off.
Okay.
And I'm going to put a mark next to every single one that I've got the same.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Because we're never going to have like it.
It's going to be very difficult.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to put a mark next to every single one that you've said that I've said, and we're going to see what difference there is, yeah?
I'm down.
All right, reel them off.
Obviously, if you're teaming in there, I'm sorry, but I'm not really. This is my perfect 20 Premier League table. It's not the table. It's not in any particular order. United.
Top.
Manchester United. Manchester City, Arsenal, Chelsea.
What's that? Yeah.
Tottenham.
Yeah.
Newcastle.
This is going to be hard. Yeah.
Sunderland.
Yeah.
Liverpool and Everton.
Yeah.
Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Leeds.
Yeah.
Blackburn.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
West Ham.
Yeah.
Bolton.
Yeah.
Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
Southampton and Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
And Crystal Palace. That is my 20.
So we've got some different ones here.
There's a few that are going to miss out, but you can't please everybody. There's only 20 spaces.
Yeah, so we've got There's a few. There was a big long streak where I was like, this could be the same here.
Oh, to be fair though, there was a lot of big ones at the start though, wasn't there as well? I think I got a lot of the big boys out the way early on.
Wait, can I just say something? You didn't say Fulham then, did you?
No.
Wow. Right. Okay. So I'll read mine out. So that was yours, yeah. I've got Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, Spurs, Aston Villa, Newcastle, Fulham, West Ham, Everton, Blackburn, Portsmouth, Bolton, Southampton, Notts Forest, Sunderland, Leeds, Stoke, Leicester.
We've only got two different, I think. You've got Stoke in, I don't.
So
I did quite want to have Stoke in, because I feel like they're heavily associated with the league.
There is two different, Stoke and Fulham.
Fulham, yeah.
And you've got Middlesbrough and Palace.
Palace have to be in, don't they?
No, I know that, but the younger days and all that stuff, it was just like up and down all the time.
Fulham,
it was shite.
I felt bad on the basis that I've done mine I've embodied a few different angles in how I've created mine, in where there's some that are nailed on quite big teams with big followings that sort of have to be in.
Yeah.
Then there's also teams where it's like longevity within the league. Then there's a few where I think it's rivalries geographically, where I think the league would be better for both of those rival teams being in. You know, for example, we have Newcastle, we have no Sunderland.
That's why I had Leeds in.
Southampton, Portsmouth, things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously Leeds is another one for like United. It's another big rivalry.
I mean, you have to have Leicester in just because they won the Prem, really.
I feel like you've got to put them in for that one-off season. It might never be done again. Arguably, bar that, I probably wouldn't put them anywhere near it because I'm not really that bothered.
Yeah. So do you know you had Middlesbrough instead of say Stoke?
Yeah.
So Middlesbrough have been in the Premier League 8 times. Stoke have been in 10.
Yeah.
So Stoke obviously edge it, but the reason why I put Stoke in is because you always had that, you can't do it on
That's
a
kind of the
cold,
only
windy
reason
night.
that I wanted him in, but then I'm always like, the football was shite. The majority of the time they were in the league. They threw up the event, every now and then they throw up a result that kind of upset the apple cart a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously Blackburn got a good history. They kind of have to be in.
I mean, Blackburn have to, because when I was a kid, like, Blackburn were always there.
They always had ballers. They got a strong history in
Portsmouth
the division.
had ballers, didn't they? They had a bit of a takeover, didn't they?
Bolton, Fulham been to a European final, and I didn't put them in.
No, yeah.
Because Bolton, I think, are the same. I think they've got to European final.
Well, I thought Bolton's the same as well. Like growing up,
Fulham, I don't know. Maybe just a particular one for me where. Got no affiliation to any player they've ever had. Couldn't care less about them. They're nowhere near here geographically. I don't think of it as a big rival game for many. I'm certain it is, but for me, it doesn't. All the other ones that I mentioned felt more important to me.
Well, the thing is, Middlesbrough was in mine at the very start, because people probably won't realise this, but Middlesbrough did do really well in the Prem. Like, whenever they was in it, They had like I was looking through it, and they had like a 7th place finish. I swear they had like a 6th place finish.
It's a while ago
It's like
now. But
middle of the table and all that, growing up and stuff. I think they was good, so they was in mine at the start, and I took them out.
you know, it's also very hypothetical, isn't it? You know, like, look at like where Sunderland are now and teams like that. Like, you couldn't, if you could make this happen overnight, they'd be dog shit in the league. They'd get absolutely battered. But this isn't a real thing, you know.
Sunderland have been in the Premier League 17 times. It's a lot of times. Sunderland, like I say, are those in mine. So the other one is that people probably look past is Birmingham.
Yeah.
And you probably say like Aston Villa, Birmingham.
And then Wolves, West Brom, they're all Brummy-based teams, aren't they?
Wolves have been in 15 times. Birmingham 10. So Norwich 11. So Norwich as well.
Norwich,
they're always shy, aren't they?
You know, they couldn't finish any lower than wherever the lowest position would be. In this 20-position league, they're going straight back down. Yeah. So maybe they'll come up next year in this hypothetical relegation that we play out.
And obviously, Brighton are like, probably you'd say, are the most well-run club at the minute, but they're a late bloomer. They've only been in 6 times.
The thing is, you know, the well-run, they pick managers that end up being half decent. They seem to cherry-pick fantastic players. But I look at Brighton and I think, Tim Pot's shite, get out. That's what I think.
Well, do you know Southampton? 27.
What times in the league? But again, even then, I'm like, Southampton, the fans are a bit Tim Pot for me. I think I've seen him at Old Trafford.
Well, you had Southampton in, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just from longevity. But
you always had...
It's respect to the amount of time they've been part of the Premier League establishment. If I was hand-picking teams, I'd probably fuck them off as well.
I've butchered this. The name's on the tip of my tongue, but the guy that used to score worldies all the time for Southampton.
Matt Letizia.
That's him. But he was just like balling it, weren't he, back in the day? So
yeah, only scored worldies really by the looks of his goal catalogue when you go on YouTube and stuff like that. And I remember him always being on Match of the Day when I was a kid.
Yeah, so there's honourable mentions. So we decided to ask ChatGPT to make their perfect one.
Top 20.
And to be fair, they've included Wolves that have been in 15 times.
Again,
but I thought Wolves and Hull were like similar back in the day, weren't they? Because you had like Hull that was in Premier League quite a few times.
Are you thinking that just because they wear the same colour kit?
Yeah. But Hull had like, do you know, like when you was on about Barclaysmen, like ballers.
They did have a few.
They had like Giovanni and stuff, didn't they? Jimmy Bullard as well.
Yeah.
He was Hull, weren't he? It wasn't Wolves, was it? It was Hull.
No, it was Hull. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because Hull had the stripes, didn't they? Wolves was just orange, isn't it? It has been for a while, but
Goldie.
Wolves are another one maybe similar to Brighton for me. I can't stand them. So if I'm picking my perfect 20, you're not... If I could relegate a team, they'd be gone.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll read ChatGPT's out for you. So, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, Tottenham, Aston Villa, Newcastle, Blackburn, Leicester, Everton, West Ham, Southampton, all the same as ours. Then you've got Wolves and Bournemouth in it. I didn't think they'd put Bournemouth in it. It's a bit strange. Fulham, Sheffield United, that we both haven't put in there.
No, there's a good reason for mine not having them in.
Stoke, well, they've got Mighty Stoke in there. Sunderland and Portsmouth. So it's similar. I think they've got 3 in there that I haven't got.
There's a few where Bournemouth get nowhere near it, for me.
The thing
keep
is,
them away.
They've left Leeds out of that.
Yeah,
it stinks, doesn't it? That.
Yeah, I think Leeds have to be in for me, really. I think they're a massive club. Like, always one of the... I hate them, but they're a massive club in the Championship. You know, Blackburn, Leeds, 2 of the biggest clubs in the shop. Sheffield United I don't put in because I felt like I needed to have them on Wednesday, so they were then taking up 2 spots, so I didn't bring either of them.
Is that actually true that Sheffield Wednesday are called Wednesday because they always used to play on Wednesdays?
I've only seen and heard that from watching Ted Lasso, so I don't know. If that's accurate, then sure. Everything else that's on that they talk about, facts-wise, I think is pretty reliable, so I'm going to say yeah.
Fair enough.
That could have been your interesting fact for next week. You fucked it now. You've got 2 this week, some of you.
But yeah, they haven't included Palace either.
No, to me, Palace scream Premier League. I don't know why.
But they were quite garbage back in day, though.
Maybe so. But I think in my head, they've always, you can sort of attribute relatively big players to them over my lifetime, where I can always look at them and being like, oh, they had this player, they had this manager, they had spells where they were good. And they just scream Premier League to me. I think like Southampton and Portsmouth, again, with it being a rivalry, it's like the two have to come. Sunderland, Newcastle, blah, blah, blah. West Brom were probably one that missed out narrowly for me. That if I was going to take West Brom and Stoke would have been the two that I would have maybe tried to get in.
Just quickly, do you reckon if I named out the teams now of your league table, probably? Yeah, your league table. Do you reckon if I named them out, you could name a player from that team, like iconic, that throughout the years, doesn't have to be now? I reckon I could probably do that.
From all 20 of mine?
Yeah.
Not sure.
Well, do you
I could try it, but I'd maybe get it wrong.
Try me first. So that's my table. So read them out to me and just see if I can name...
Quick fire.
Yeah, an iconic...
It's left and right side, it's all those.
No, the left side.
The right side's like your honourable mentions, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just make sure that's 20. Right, left side.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Quick fire. Liverpool.
Oh, God. Steven Gerrard.
Manchester United.
I'll say, I'll try and go the players that you just wouldn't think of. So,
okay.
So I'll put Harry Kewell for Liverpool, yeah?
Okay.
United. I'll just say Michael Carrick. Chelsea. Let's go. Good Johnson.
Arsenal.
Let's go. Perez.
Manchester City.
Alano.
Spurs.
Oh, I had a good one for. Oh, let's go Robbie Keane.
Villa.
Gareth Barry.
Played for everybody.
Yeah.
Newcastle.
Oh, I think he sadly passed away, but Cheick Tiote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a few worldies.
Fulham, I would go Andrew Johnson, striker. West Ham. Let's go. Oh, I had a really good West Ham one. I'll just go Matthew Upson. Everton, Pienaar.
Stephen Pienaar. Blackburn.
Richard Dunn.
I know that.
I know there's Morgan Gamps Pedersen as well, but Richard Dunn is. Do you know what came to my mind? Because he's the one that does the Rabona and trips up. Yeah, I've seen it.
Not quite got it in the locker like me. Portsmouth.
Montari.
Yeah. Sounds like something you'd order at an Indian. Bolton.
Oh, you've got Kevin Davis or Elmander.
Southampton.
For Southampton, I'm just going to go Letizia because they haven't really produced that many.
Most
to be
of them
fair,
end up at Liverpool.
You had like Gareth Bale and that from them. To be fair,
Forest.
Chris Wood.
Currently smashing it.
Yeah.
Sunderland.
Ooh. I feel like there's someone in my head and I can't get it out. There might be someone obvious that I'm missing out here. Sunderland, who's been good for Sunderland? There was that Scottish striker. Fletcher. That's it, Fletcher. I'm going Fletcher.
But is this time ago or not? That
yeah, it was like as I was growing up. Yeah.
Okay.
2012, 2010, probably.
Leeds.
Ooh, Mark Viduka.
Bazooka, that Veruca. That's all I can think of when I see his name. Stoke City.
Oh, we got Rory Delap.
And Leicester.
I think it'll be mean if we don't go Vardy.
Anyone from that winning.
Yeah,
Vardy.
Yeah. Danny Simpson. Fucking Robert Oof.
I don't think I could necessarily... I reckon I can name a player from them all, but I don't know that it'll be anything that's like exciting. It'll just be
I think I did quite well
Off
there.
the cuff, like someone quick.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. Manchester United.
Anderson.
That was a good one, that. Man City.
Dzeko.
Oh. Arsenal.
Bergkamp.
Chelsea.
Shevchenko.
Tottenham.
Crouch.
Yeah, I was going to say Crouch from your Stoke City once. Newcastle.
Denver Bar.
Sunderland.
Defoe.
Yeah. Liverpool.
John Arnorisa.
Everton.
Wazza.
Was it? Aston Villa.
Gabby Bonglehor.
Yeah, true. Everyone hates what he
We
has
hate
to
him
say now. Leeds. You're trying to go for someone different to Viduka, aren't you?
Schwarzer. Did he play for Leeds?
I think he...
Getting muddled
No,
up
he
with
was Fulham.
Fulham, yeah.
Keeper, yeah. Go for Duke if you want, because
That is normally who comes to mind for me.
it does, doesn't it?
Daniel James.
Did he play for Leeds in the Prem? No, he hasn't, has he?
Probably not, no.
Oh, well, don't matter. Blackburn.
Blackburn. What's his name?
The winger.
No.
Oh.
It took me ages to get him on the quiz that time. Striker.
Oh, yeah.
Of
course.
Yakubu.
Yeah, Yakubu.
I could see him in my head the whole time.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't go for him. I loved Yakubu. Nottingham Forest.
Go Roy Keane.
Oh. West Ham.
Payet.
Nice. Bolton.
I am struggling with Bolton.
I had 2 for this one.
Bolton.
Oh, you've got another one. Iconic. Nigerian.
Did JJ Kocher, but
Yeah.
did Darren Bent play for Bolton? Why is that in my head? I don't think he did.
No,
It's
no.
literally in my head. I was going Darren Bent.
To be fair, Darren Bent played for Aston Villa as well.
He played for a lot of teams, just not Bolton.
Yeah. So you're going with JJ Kocher?
Yeah, we'll go with him. I
Yeah.
can't think.
Middlesbrough.
Who did I have then? I went straight to Carrick because he's a manager. Middlesbrough. Now who's coming to head now at midfield that played for Liverpool? Stuart Downing.
Yes.
Don't know
Nice.
why.
Yeah. Southampton.
Let's go. Danny Ings.
Oh. I was like, when did he play? Oh, yeah, no.
Ding, 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 ding.
Portsmouth.
Matty Taylor.
Yeah. Leicester.
Let's go for Wes Morgan.
I was literally going to say Wes Morgan. Crystal Palace.
Zaha.
You've done it.
I did, but I struggled with some of those. Some of the older ones, they blur in my head from being a kid just what colour the kit is. So like Fulham and Bolton and Leeds, I'm just thinking white kits, thinking back to match attacks and stuff like that, and they all could have played for any of them.
Yeah.
In my head.
Yeah.
Some of my knowledge on that's pretty poor.
Yeah,
But-
just to clear it up, like when I read it out, it was West Brom that took the cut. But I mean, you could have West Brom in the Premier League, to be fair. They was in quite a lot.
Nearly had them in mind, but
Yeah.
I did cut them.
Right, who are on Super 6 then?
Let's have a look. Well,
So if
United
you
are
want to
actually the first
win,
one.
so this week it's 750k.
Oh yeah, why is it more?
I don't know.
Does it roll over if people don't win?
But if you are just the top scorer, you win a trip to Dubai.
Well, treat yourself.
Treat yourself. Don't say with someone, you're just going on your own.
I don't know how I feel about this actually.
So yeah, turns out I've already done mine, so
Oh yeah.
you can see
Well,
me on
I'll
the
have to
screen.
do mine live because I've not done mine yet.
Alright, so if you want to win the 750k or the trip to Dubai, copies.
Yeah, don't copy us. Okay, so United Brentford.
Do you know what would be good? if you join top scorers with another
Fight to
person.
see who wins it.
No. I was going to say you both go Dubai together,
Oh, no, that'd be awful.
but you want to fight.
I think a fight would be so much better. You make them have a bare knuckle fight,
You have an organised UFC fight.
or they have to go to like Total Wipeout and see who does better or something like that.
Yeah, well, good idea.
Sky could televise it, and they could even make it so you could bet. They could make a load of money back because you could bet on.
Oh yeah,
who
you can
think's
bet who's going to win.
Sky just, you can use that.
You're missing opportunities.
Just credit the boys at Game of Two Halves.
Right.
United
So you've got
Brentford then.
United Brentford. I've actually gone for a United 2-1 win again from last season.
2-1 last time with the McTominay
2 late goals.
2 late goals. There's now no McTominay, so Brentford 1-0. No, I'm not feeling particularly good. It's 3:00. Brentford sort of all over the place. I'd say they're half decent, but then they're having a wobble. United are pretty terrible all over.
I think Ten Hag goes on a 3-win streak, and everyone's like, "Oh, maybe he should keep his job."
So I'll be at the game rooting for us, hoping that we win. But the 750 grand on the line, I'm going Brentford 2-0.
2-0.
2-0, yeah.
Right.
I'm not feeling very confident, I'm afraid. But I'll be confident when I'm there, in spirit as a fan.
Yeah.
But for my prediction where we are trying to beat each other in the league, I'm going with what I think.
You'll drown your sorrows at half time with your pie, won't you? So
I will do indeed.
Newcastle and Brighton.
I'm going to go for 2-2.
I've gone 2-1 Newcastle.
2-1 Newcastle.
Just because it's at their ground.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-2.
Fulham, Aston Villa have gone 1-1.
Yeah, Fulham have started well. Got goals as well. I'm going to go...
I'm starting to think that Aston Villa maybe nick it 2-1.
I'm going to go 2-1 Villa. Although I do...
I'll keep it 1-1.
I do quite fancy Fulham. They've looked bright.
Yeah, they have looked
but
good, yeah.
I kind of still want to go for Villa there.
I've just realised I've got another draw here, and it's Bournemouth and Arsenal. I've gone for a 2-2 draw.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to go... I think Arsenal have got a couple of tricky games after this, haven't they? Obviously, because we've looked at those fixtures earlier on where they've got Chelsea and Liverpool within their next 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a 2-0 Arsenal win here.
Okay. I don't know what went through me. I had 2-2 there, but hey, I'm keeping it because if I change it and it happens, I'm not going to be happy. So Wolves v City, I've gone 3-1 to City. I think Wolves get one at home.
If Wolves can concede 6 to Chelsea, I think they can ship a few to City. I'm going to go City 4-1.
Okay, I've gone 3-1, yeah. So the talk of the pod, Liverpool v Chelsea. What have you gone for?
I'm going to go Liverpool 3-1.
I've gone 2-1 Liverpool.
And I'm going to go from golden goal as minute 1 because it's been the first minute in 3 or 4 weeks of every bloody thing so far.
How do I see mine? I'll have to go on edit. I went for the 9th minute.
I normally always go for the 7th, for CR7, for Georgie Best, for David Beckham. But... and Burmo keeps scoring early, or Brentford will score early, or whatever. Brentford will score in the first minute against United.
Yeah.
Get your money on it.
If I was 10 Hag, my speech would be like...
Get through the first minute.
Get through the first minute, guys. Don't concede.
And then we concede in the second minute. Well, that wraps it up. Good to be back. Good to be not talking about England, because
Do you know
that
what?
has been poo.
I've felt better this pod not talking about how dismal United are. Maybe we should just not talk about
We
United.
even let it creep in at points, didn't we, though? It's just
Yeah,
too
but then
natural.
we fought against it and kept it away.
Yeah, but maybe we'll get no views now because people love United so much. Whether you're a United fan or you hate us and you want to see us squirm and be upset,
They want to see us crumble. I
and
know
you'll
last,
see it a lot.
last season, Huff said, like, do you know what? I don't mind you talking about United because I like you're passionate about them and you speak on them like quite well. But really, he just likes us having mental breakdowns,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
that's it. He was just trying to hide that as it being a nice thing to say. Really,
Yeah.
it's like God. When they lose, he's like that, just warming up, like get it on.
He's like, United win, lose 3-0. He's like, I can't wait to listen to the pod.
It's how it used to be with Arsenal fan TV. I think maybe United fans are getting that bantered now. Like,
I don't think
Arsenal
we're ever
lose.
as bad, but
No, I think Arsenal were terribly bad in that moment. and the fans were very embarrassing. But there's definitely some United fans out there that give him a run for the money.
Yeah.
But that ties it up. Episode 10 of the new season. Episode 56 overall, I think. That's what we said at the start, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much for tuning in. Please feel free to like and subscribe. If you want to comment below anything that you'd like to see in the future or any of your thoughts based on what we've said, we'd very much appreciate it. You can also comment and interact on our polls and comment on the Spotify podcast as well. And if you can rate us 5 stars on Spotify, that'd be very much appreciated. You can also follow us on Apple Podcasts if that's where you listen to your podcasts, and we'll have shorts going up on YouTube, we'll have TikToks, we'll have Instagram Reels. If that's the content that you take, short form and not long content, then be sure to follow us on all those outlets. We'd very much appreciate it. And if you've got any ideas that you'd like to see us discuss, then you can contact us on any of those platforms. Instagram's probably the best for a reply, or within the YouTube comments. But I think that ties it up, and we'll be back next week.